Hello, everybody, and welcome to Luminous Life. I am so delighted to introduce Kim Russo and star of Lifetime Network and #1 rated TV show, The Haunting of, Psychic Intervention, and most recent, The Celebrity Ghost Stories, which is one of my favorites because I watch it all the time. I love that one. And then she also has several books. So she has The Happy Medium, Life Lessons from the Other Side, which is phenomenal. And then her newer book, Your Soul Purpose, Learn How to Access the Light Within, which is essential, I think, for everybody to read and have. And you can find her books too on Audible as well if you like to listen to it. So I loved your last book. It's really what a blessing, I think, for so many people, because there's so many sensitive people, and you were talking about how you suppressed your gifts for so long.
Yeah.
And you decided, okay, what was the deciding factor of choosing not to suppress your gifts anymore? Was there a moment?
There was. It kept coming in. The voices started getting louder and louder. And I started to just go about my day. I had 3 young children at the time. And in the course of getting ready for my day, once this energy just blasted open, it was open when I was a younger child, and then I somehow had closed it, or it closed on its own. I think it closed on its own, allowing me to have a family, have a focus on, meeting the man, getting the house, getting the children, because that I do believe was part of my soul journey as well.
Mhm.
And I think that had I started doing this work at a very early age, it may have taken me off track. So it shut down for a while in my teenage years, in my dating years, and in my early marriage years. And then after my 3rd child was born, it was like someone just blew the roof off of my aura. And I felt like I had no veil left anymore between the 2 worlds. And I would just be doing the most basic tasks, such as cooking dinner, blow drying my hair, taking a shower, and then I would have all these voices coming at me, telling me their names, telling me how they passed away, telling me where their family lives, and sometimes their names of their family, who to call. And it was just coming in all at once, and thought I was really losing my mind. And I just had a little chat with my spirit guides, and I said, I was always very religious / spiritual. Religion turned into spirituality because I don't really follow an organized religion, but I absolutely do have my tremendous faith in a higher being. I call God. I am a Jesus follower. I write that in my book.
Mhm.
And I always had a relationship when I was a little girl with the unseen realm, and they were my best friends, as I wrote in the book, The Happy Medium. And they brought me comfort, but they also, I felt they were my protectors. So when I had all these voices coming, I needed intervention. And I said, listen, I understand maybe I have this gift. I'm not sure what to do with it, but this is chaos, and I cannot have all this voices coming at me. I need order. I need structure. But most of all, I need to know this is not my imagination.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That was the biggest thing. Like, am I going crazy? Is this, I didn't have a handbook. There were very, very few books out at the time. I mean, I had to go back to the old time mediums, like, what are they, like the Spirit Sisters, and just those are were trans mediums, and I wasn't allowing my body to become a trans medium.
Right. Right. That's very
Um,
different.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go. I do give credit to people that do that. But I am a little bit more in the control aspect, where I want to stay safe, and
Seems
I
like you
need,
have boundaries with it.
yeah, I needed that.
Yeah.
So long story short, I was always in constant contact with my spirit guides. And I said, listen, if you want me to do this work, I need you to like either send me a teacher, or I need to somehow sort this language out, and then you need to send me the people. That was the other thing I said. I said,
Right.
because I'm not soliciting. I'm not that type. I'm not a salesperson. That's just not me. And they answered every request I had. They sent me a brief teacher. She's now passed on. She didn't teach me mediumship, but she told me I would be a medium.
Huh.
She taught me the basics. I was part of a group of people. We met once a week for 12 weeks. When I look back now, she taught us how to ground ourselves, protect ourselves, and she gave us a list of books. And she was really a really good start to answer any questions we had. And she always said, you're going to be a very well-known medium. And I never believed her, never. And I didn't even want to be a medium, by the way.
I understand.
I wanted to do, because in my journeys of reading all these books,
Yes.
I was fascinated with hypnosis.
Yes. Yeah, I read that in your book about
And regression and the soul, the journey of the soul. That was my real passion.
Were you tapping into in your hypnosis like past life stuff?
Yes, mostly. I didn't plan on doing it that way. I thought just tapping into, even sometimes it could go back to childhood. But I did a little experiment, using my husband as a guinea pig, taking a book out of the library. And on the first shot, it worked like magic. But my husband, I later found out, is very, very easily hypnotized. I didn't know anything about it, but
Right?
yeah, I said, listen, we went to a seminar. I was doing a psychic retreat. And there were these other vendors there, and there was this hypnotist, and I saw him in the program, and I said, oh geez, I'm not working today, because I usually get there a day early. And I said, I want to be part of this audience. And I wanted my husband to be there as well, because I wanted to see, he's a professional hypnotist.
Right.
So he called my husband up to the stage amongst other people, and he did a quick test. There's a way you can tell if someone's easily hypnotizable. A lot of the times with the white of their eyes, like they have to look up. And he picked my husband right off the bat, and he literally had my husband quacking like a chicken. And there were so many other things that was happening up on that stage with a group of people. I never, ever, ever laughed so hard in my life. But at the same time, I am very aware and I respect the process.
Right. Yeah.
I
Well,
really do.
I mean, just the power that, to have that kind of effect on people.
It's a little bit scary.
Right. Right. Yeah.
The hypnotist was later let go in the seminar, because he was doing unscrupulous things to people, and he was not of the highest vibration.
Yes.
So they had him leave, and I was happy about that, because he was like putting these women under hypnosis and whatnot.
Yes.
But it's nothing to take lightly, because literally the subconscious mind runs our life anyway.
Yes. Yes. Right.
That's where the program is. So that's not to get off the topic of being a medium, but that's where I was really interested in learning about. And I'm still very interested in that topic.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
regression and the hypnosis. And I follow the work of Dolores Cannon,
Yes. I love her.
the
She's
best.
phenomenal. Yes. She is amazing. I highly recommend people watching her work. And she's
Yes.
now, but
Yeah, she is crossed over, unfortunately. But boy, has she left a legacy of so many books,
Yeah,
so many videos, and there's so many practitioners. It's like she created these tentacles that go out into the world using her technique.
right.
And it's fabulous. She left some legacy, boy. And so that's kind of what I was looking to do. Maybe I'll do that in the second part of my journey. I think it's like anything else. Once you learn something, you learn how to ride a bike, you'll always know how to ride a bike. I'll always be a medium, you
Yes.
know.
And then so like I'm curious because when you hear the voices, but then also you can see spirits and entities, and it's like, so seeing entities in other people, let's say, does that affect someone's blueprint and life path? And how can somebody like notice it for themselves, to clear it? Or because I can see entities in other people and animals. And so, do you have to get permission for these things? Or,
For
what's,
me to clear it or for the person themselves to clear it?
I like both.
Well, that's a really good question because there's so many people that are walking around with entities influencing them in their daily lives. Um, I stay away from entity clearing because I did do it for a long time. I did. I can teach people about it, but it's I want to give it to you the right way. It's sort of like when you bring your dog to Caesar Milan for training, right? The real work begins when you go home with that dog.
Yeah,
Caesar's not going to be there all the time. So it really is empowering the person themselves is the one that needs to create the boundary. So I can come in there fierce and furious with very strong boundaries, with a reciting prayer, with all kinds of crystals and tools. And
right,
like I said, prayers like priests can do, these exorcisms and whatnot. That's extreme.
right, right,
But it's like when the threat is gone, they're going to find the weakest link.
right.
They're going to go back to the weakest link. So it's about teaching the person how to strengthen their aura
Mhm.
and to learn about vibrations and thoughts and to filter out, gee, where did that thought come from? What initiated that thought? Is that even my thought?
Right. Yeah.
I often point out to people that before they leave for work, hypothetically, just as an example, they can be in the best mood. Then they can get on a subway train or bus
Mhm.
and they can be around all these other people. And if they're an empathetic person, real compassionate, real empathy, like a sponge, they will absorb this the sad person, especially if they're sitting next to them. They'll absorb that energy. And then they'll take it on as, wow, I just started out really, really in a good mood. What happened here? So I teach people how to be really, really observant of your atmosphere, what changed, take mental note.
Yes.
Gee, how did this turn on a dime like this? Whose energy is this? Is it mine?
Yes.
Um,
Love that question. Yes. I use that question a lot myself. Like, whose energy is this? And like giving it to the light. And because you're right, I find that because I'm an empath and clairsentient, so it's like I've had to learn, and I'm still learning boundaries, with other people's energy and all of that. So I really understand that, and that's why I love talking with you about it, because it helps give people more information about how they can create better boundaries around it.
so many of us were raised to be people pleasers.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's part of the generation that it was.
Yeah.
Not so much the
Yeah.
millennial, not
Yeah.
so much the Gen X's or the millennials, but because they're pretty much really being taught to honor themselves, which is a really good thing. But the people pleasing to be accepted. So you have to also look at the types of personalities, people that work out of guilt, people that work out of shame, people pleasing, codependency. These are the weaker links because the bottom line is they don't feel worthy. They don't love themselves enough to put themselves first. And of course, a lot of structured religions and family members taught us, especially as women, that we are to be subservient and we are to cater and we are to put everyone's needs before our own. And I think people need to understand the difference between self-love and selfishness.
Right.
They're very different. They're very different. And then of course you'll have the narcissists that pop up in your life as soon as you start to try to love yourself. You know, they'll use the guilt trips after they start to see they don't have the power over you anymore. And that goes a lot for entities as well. When they feel they're losing their grip, they can create an illness, a sickness, influence to drink that alcohol, influence to take that pill. They can actually influence you. And this is why your whole reality is created in your mind. Your whole consciousness and vibration comes from your decision making, your thoughts, and your willpower, and your belief system, your perception.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I've seen people around me struggle so much with this issue. And you know, is it less or more, you know, on this planet right now? I mean, do you find that there's more influence or is it less? Like, where are we kind of at in that respect? You know, how are people, are people being more affected or less? It feels a little heavier in ways to me, but then lighter in ways.
Well, if people were never taught, they don't, a lot of families are not raising their children with any type of belief system. Some families, young moms say to me, well, I'm just teaching my child to be a good person. And that's great. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I am a big believer in allowing your child at a young age to understand that there is something out there, and use nature if you need to. That's a great start. You know, who created, and they often wonder these questions like, who made the trees, mommy? And you know, they give us so many openings to bring in. You don't have to label the higher power if you don't feel comfortable with that, but some kind of higher being that is looking over us and protecting us and loves us and created this planet, this earth. It's always best to know, just like a parent, and that's their role. A child feels safe when there's a parent that can protect them. What, aside from the parent, when you become an adult and say your parents are gone, who do we turn to if they were never taught that there is a protector beyond our earthly parents? So I do feel that the souls right now that are on this earth chose to come here, most of them, not all of them, to create the newer vibration. We're coming out of the age of Pisces.
Right.
And we're in the age of Aquarius. Literally, it has begun. It's like when you buy a new business or a new restaurant, it's not going to look good until all the kinks are worked out. right? Until we have the right servers, the right cook, the right scheduling. That's what life is right now. We moved out of one vibration, the age of Pisces, which is of the water, right? Pisces is like a lot of water. And we've moved into more the air, technology, things that can be created in the mind. So it shouldn't be as heavy as we get acclimated to this new age with the new vibrations. But the most souls that came here agreed to be part of the change. Now, what I like to tell a lot of parents who cannot understand the big giant generation gap between them and their children is they did not come here to sustain the paradigm the way it was. They literally came here to change it, to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's a disease in our society, isn't it?
It is. I am a believer in finding easier ways to make things work. But I also believe that we're getting too lazy. We're not using our minds anymore because of all these computers and all of this technology. I am still a believer that we must touch the earth. We must learn from Mother Nature, like finding a balance. That's why I'm called the happy medium, by the way. When they say there is no happy medium, that's balance.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
really sweet.
I believe in advancement, but I believe in balance. We cannot lose our connection to nature and to who we truly are.
Yes.
If we lose that, we just become that once again anyway. But while we're on this earth, we were meant to have heaven on earth. And that's what finding the Christ consciousness is. People confuse that with religion, like following Christ. It's about the Christ consciousness. A consciousness is a belief system. It's how do you treat people? So all of the greatest masters had the highest vibration. They mastered their mind. They were masterminds, right? So
when you're talking about Christ consciousness, I was actually going to bring it up earlier, but because when I speak about it to other people, most people still connect it to religion. And so, so it's sometimes difficult,
It's a vibration. It is a vibration. It is a Christ comes from the word Christos, which is crystalline, which is what we are. So this is who we are. And the sun, S-U-N or S-O-N, it's kind of all the same. It's that sun energy. And we get our higher vibrating, we get our DNA from the sun. The codes of the sun, nothing can grow without the codes of the sun.
Yes.
Right? If we had no sun, there would be nothing. There would be no vegetation. There would be no planet.
Earth, right. Yeah. I love that. The codes of the sun. Absolutely.
The codes of the sun is what gives us our we're the computer and the sun is the programmer. And so that's my point when I talk about like knowing who we are, going back, unlearning all of the lies that we've been taught through the controlling structures.
Yes.
And they're far and wide, not just with religion.
Absolutely. I mean, even for me personally, I've been on this journey for a while now. And as a woman, it seems to be, a lot of the general public seems to feel it's sort of threatening, especially for a woman to kind of rise to her, power and her knowingness. It's definitely been, you know, a thing where it's like, so how could women on this planet actually, what could we do to actually enhance that in ourselves, and create that space for ourselves so we can actually be on our mission and our path? Because I do believe we all have a mission, or most of us, right?
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Well, right now, along with the rising in consciousness, it's also the rising of the divine feminine. And that is also in men as well. The divine feminine energy was, you can't quote me on the time frame in history, but the feminines, the women were revered. They were just adored, and they were the lead species at one time, until then the age of Pisces came along, and the men just took over and they suppressed the women. So I don't know all the time frames. I don't
yeah,
really like put that in my brain, but I know back when the feminine was really worshipped, and
yes,
there's a lot of goddesses out there that are still, worshipped,
yes,
statues and whatnot. Um, so what I would say to that is, the women that came here, innately, they know we are the healers. We are the ones, even in our own families, the mother is the first person that any life form, mammals at least, form a relationship with, is their mother in utero. So the mother has been given the mission of nurturing, healing, smoothing out the energy, coming to a rational realization. The nurturing, we need the nurturing in our society. And I always say, not everyone has to be out there having a podcast or a TV show or a book. In your own community, wherever you are, you can make a difference with your nurturing spirit. And uh, it's funny because being a man or being a woman has come down to body parts at this point. But the soul itself has no gender,
right.
right? Because we could come back men, women, we could keep changing it up every lifetime. But the soul itself, when it grows with love and compassion and nurturing, the compassion, in my opinion, is what forms the nurturing, and the healing. So the men are even getting on board with this energy. Of course, we're going to have people from the old paradigm that don't want to change. They want to stay in control. It's really a mindset too. It's a belief, a way of believing. It's not allowing for your mind to expand
Yeah.
and to see all life as one.
And sacred.
It's we have to get out of that mindset of that person has muscles so he can protect us. Yeah, that might be true, but at the same time, there is a higher power. And the guy with the biggest muscles could be the most insecure person on this planet, as we know.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's really about nurturing and unlearning. So
Mhm.
anyone who's been suppressed is more or less suffering, because that's not the true nature of the soul, is it's not to be suppressed.
Absolutely, yes.
So I always will tell people, what have you done to make a difference today? Today, not tomorrow, not next year, because we don't know about tomorrow and next year. But we do have the present moment of now, right? And I am very big on, what is your legacy going to be when you leave this planet? What is it? Do you want people to remember you as a bitter, angry, selfish person? Or do you want them to remember you as, wow, that person really changed my life? Sometimes it's just smiling at the person, telling them how pretty they look. It doesn't take a lot to change someone's world, even if it's for the moment.
Exactly. Yeah, it is amazing to me because I talk about this a lot, how just even little things in someone's life can absolutely alter their day. I mean, you're standing in line at the post office and you smile at somebody and have a, quick, kind conversation, or just these little things. A lot of people think they're insignificant, but they're not, it's
And what a lot of women or people in general don't understand is, if you are that high vibrating person with a lot of love in your heart, just standing next to that person can literally ignite the vibration. It can ignite something inside of you, even not knowing what it is, right? I mean, I'm sure you've walked into a room and there's either a draining person or someone who just brings your spirits up.
yeah,
Yeah, just by their smile or their vibe or their, you could tell when you walk into a room, even if no one's in the room. I've gone to hotel rooms. It's like, wow, this is heavy in here. Something must have happened. So you gotta trust your own instincts and don't look outside of yourself for approval
yes,
or for validation.
yeah,
You have to go within for the validation. And if it feels right, and it may not be right for someone else, but if
yes.
it's right for you, I really encourage people to honor that. That's how we really begin loving ourselves.
Because I mean, we have a blueprint, each one of us, and not to follow it is,
Yeah,
that
you'll
that
just have to come back many times until you get it.
and so, the earth has a blueprint, I imagine.
I I I believe so. Mother Earth is a true mother. She houses us, she sustains us with all of everything that can grow, and just the beautiful water and trees. And we don't realize, we take everything for granted, but even trees communicate with each other through their branches under the ground. We don't know a lot about the ecosystems out there and how they operate and the intelligence.
Yes.
We just take it for granted, but Gaia, Mother Earth, she's a living, breathing entity on her own, and she's housing all of us. And
Yes.
Dolores Cannon, speaking of her in the beginning of the talk, she says that, as Mother Earth, as the Earth is now rising in consciousness in her own vibration, she says we are like fleas on a dog. So we're fleas to the earth, and as she ascends, she will just shake us off. We can hold on and go with it, or we can just get flung off. She doesn't care either way.
Yep.
So it's up to us to know which direction we would like to go,
Exactly.
because I do feel that we've run out of that time of, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'll do it. I feel like the messages from the guides are, no, the time is now. You've had up till now as a dress rehearsal, and now the curtain is going up and it's showtime.
You know what? I feel the exact same way. It feels like there's like a choice point, like, and it's now. And
It's
what are we
now.
going to do with it? Yeah, yeah. It's not later. Like people.
It was later, not anymore.
Yeah, yep. Hmm.
Because we're rising too quickly now. The changes are happening way too quickly, and we have to keep up with it as far as the vibration. And that vibration I keep speaking of is love. It's
Yes.
love. It's love. It's love. And yeah, there's a lot of darkness on our planet. Believe it or not, there always was.
Right. I know. And that's the thing. It's like when you really like take the blinders off and you're aware, you realize some of the people you were around, are trying to control a situation. I mean, I think it's so important that we like recognize like who we're around,
Oh, yeah.
supporting
Oh,
us
yeah.
in a loving way, or are they trying to suppress, and trying to like crabs in a bucket, trying to pull you down, um, because either they're afraid of the light or they just, it's just a pattern, in somebody else. But it's, you know, I think you're right when you speak of like really clearing a lot of things from your life. It seems to be opening up the space to create, what actually wants to be created in your life.
And it's generational clearing. It's not just this lifetime. It's because we have cellular memory, even if we're in a different body. There is a soul imprint, and we're clearing generational trauma. And that can go back to, my mother taught me what her mother taught her, and goes back or on and on and on. And we're clearing that, the lower chakra energy, which is what connects us to the 3D. But it's mostly just physical. It's, how do I look? What do I have? How safe do I feel? It's until you rise up into the heart chakra and allow it to expand to, this is not all about me, this is about we. And how does my actions impact another person? If I say this, what kind of ripple effect will that have? Very often I'm faced with choices, and they're small acts of kindness that I'm faced with. But some of these acts of kindness take time. They take time from my day. But I often think about, if I do this one thing, I know this is really going to help out this person in a big way. It's nothing for me to do it. It takes 2 minutes or whatever it is, but it could put this person on a certain trajectory.
Right.
Like, if I am given the opportunity to accelerate something good for someone, I usually say yes, because I know, and not because I need to, check off the karma bank. That's not it. It's more about, wow, I have the wherewithal to do this. Why wouldn't I?
Right. And
Right?
because if that puts somebody on a different path in a trajectory that's like, will create more for the planet as
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sometimes I'll give free readings if I feel like, no, it was 5 minutes. I just answered a question, and people are like, what can I do for you? What can I send you? I said, please just pay it forward. That's what I ask you to do, and however you can. And so these are the little things we could do. It's like not much, but I think we need to stop in the chaos of our lives and stop creating all of this to-do list. It's just a big form of distraction. Now, listen, no disrespect to people that have 9-to-5 jobs, because
sure.
listen, we all have to pay the bills, please. I put time into my work too. It's more about, like, don't create this unnecessary burdens. Like, if it's a burden, if it becomes a burden, it's not serving anyone.
Exactly. These big long to-do lists. I agree. Yeah, no, absolutely. I know. I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. It's like being more here now in the present moment. It's like, okay, what feels light to do right now? Like, and maybe 10 of those things are, on that to-do list are not in the highest, good for my life right this moment. So, okay, I'm going to choose this.
And you know what I find too, to take something you like, that you're interested in, and something you want to learn about or partake in, a course, whatever it is, and commit to it if it brings you joy. Some weeks it may not be convenient to join that class or to go to that, partake in that event. But overall, it's something you love to do. But you do have to commit to yourself. It's not like a one-time thing, like, oh yeah, I think I'll go get a massage today. That's great. That's wonderful. But then in 3 months go by and you need 10 massages because of all the work you've done. I feel like it's more about having something to look forward to that feeds your soul. You're putting yourself first. There are things that will come up around this class or event that people will try to, oh, what are you doing next Saturday? And blah, blah, blah. Oh, I have my class. I have my class. And commit to it, because committing is discipline. And we have to have self-discipline if we want to grow.
Yes.
Right? We can't just be all over the place.
Right.
But committing to yourself, something you love, something that raises your vibration, I recommend it. And everyone else will have to, they will start to get used to it. They'll start to incorporate around you.
Right.
Like your kids, your family, you'll make other arrangements. I can't for the kids or whatever. Maybe you'll miss a week or two. I understand that. But it feels good to commit to yourself, and you're committed to you and to giving you something that you love. So I really do recommend that. There's just so many ways that we can live in the higher vibration without the daily routine just pulling us, dragging us, where we don't even have enough energy to stand up at night. That's just not living.
No. Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to ask you a question because you brought it up before. I've attracted one of the things that you mentioned in your book, which is super fascinating, like letting spirit take the lead. Like, okay, so I'm curious about that, because how can we actually evolve our own consciousness by letting spirit take the lead?
Well, so you've heard the term, God is in control, right? That's just like a common phrase. Everything works out for the best. Just by default, the universe does have our back. The universe is working in tandem with our blueprint. The same way it works in tandem with nature, right? The bees know when they need to pollinate, and the leaves know when to fall off. So and speaking of control, that is the biggest illusion that we've ever had, is that we have any control. We don't. I might have control. Do I want to eat this sandwich or this sandwich, turkey or, chicken? When it comes to the bigger events in life, and you're way off of your blueprint, AKA soul agreement, right? It's what you agree to. It's a contract.
Right.
If you are supposed to learn, and part of your contract is, I want to learn how not to judge people. Right? That could be one of your themes coming into this world. You will quickly find yourself with no friends or no people that want to be around you if you don't release the judgment, right? Like it all goes back to expanding your mind, seeing the bigger picture, releasing control that you think you have. And that's what that means. So we can make a decision to do something, but we're not sure, should we do it? To say it's a career path, I'll give you just as an example. this is how spirit takes the lead. It's all right. I like this idea. I think I can do it. And I'm not sure if I should give it my all or not. Right? I guess that's how things start. It has to start with an idea. Then we have to put action behind the idea to put it out there. But a lot of the times we stop in our tracks and we start to question ourselves. I think that's human nature. Like, gee, is this what I'm supposed to do? Especially if it's something new that just pops in your head. A lot of people don't like change because it's fear that keeps them stuck. Like, I know what I have. I don't know what I will have. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I won't know if it'll be popular. I don't know if I can pull it off. Fear, all fear. So what we do is we have to form a relationship with our spirit guides. We all have them. We all have them. We have one main one that comes with us and leaves with us. And as we learn and grow, different jobs, different, passions, we will attract different guides that are experts in the field of that, whatever that is that you want to learn, right? If you want to become a doctor, you will definitely attract spirit guides that were at some point in the medical field because they can really teach you the best and they can support you on your journey. So you have to form a relationship with your spirit guides, but you have to know they're there. You have to acknowledge them. Our angels. Not a time goes by when I'm driving in the car and it's very crowded everywhere I go. No parking to be had. Thank you, parking angels, for providing me with a parking spot that is within a decent amount of walking distance. No sooner do I say this, I have my husband as my witness and everyone else who drives with me, a spot opens up. Invoke your angels, invoke your guides. And
ask for them.
They stay in the wings waiting to be asked. Now, they're not your genie in a bottle.
Right.
If it's no skin off of anyone's nose, they'll give it to you.
Yes, right.
And when you're asking for direction in your life, okay, I'll give my example when I was starting to become a medium. If this is real, and I'm able to really keep doing this, if this is what I'm supposed to do, send me the people. I told you, I made that agreement. Send me the people. My phone hasn't stopped ringing since. I agreed to open the door for the people. And there they were. Yeah. And it's just like step by step. It's not going to happen all at once. It's a dance. It's a sign. You have to look for the signs. You have to look for how it makes you feel. If it starts to become a burden, that's what I said earlier, you might have to tweak it a little or change it a little, right? Like maybe your soul path was to become an attorney, let's just say. And that's a definite. I'm going to be an attorney. I have to go to law school, take the bar, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, you're in, matrimonial law. And you're like, oh no, this is depressing me. This is nothing but good news. I don't like who I've become. I'm fighting for a client that I don't believe in, but that's my job. They're paying me. That's not for your highest good. But you can change and become an attorney that becomes an advocate for children.
Like pro bono type. Yeah.
Or for women, or for women's rights. So I feel like it's not just one size fits all. We have to keep going until it's like a shoe. That's that whole Cinderella thing. I have to find one that fits. Yes. And then that is my prince, the one that can bring me the shoe. It's similar, all these parables and all these fairy tales. It's really big messages they're trying to impart. But people forget that they have a choice. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. They feel that they have to stick with, they don't look left or they don't look right. we have to become creative, and we have to use our critical thinking skills. How do I get out of this situation? I know I'm supposed to be an attorney, but this isn't it. So make it work for you. What, how can I help? How can I serve? That's a big one. And be grateful. Being grateful is also how spirit will bring you more things to be grateful for. But again, to think that we know, we can't lead. We can't lead without a higher power, because sometimes our human self wants to go left, but we're supposed to go right. And spirit will get you right on that track. When I give readings, I always start with a disclaimer. You might not get what you want in this reading, but you will get what you need.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Because spirit is the ones delivering the message, not me. I'm just the interpreter.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's I mean, with this blueprint idea, it's like I feel like I actually had completed a contract in this lifetime and was given another one. It's
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes. You can have more than one.
That's how,
Absolutely, yes. And remember, we're accelerating at a quick pace. We're doing the whole ascension. So we might be fitting 3 lives into one.
okay, so that's interesting. I feel like, I mean, that's what occurred probably last year or so. Like I got a second contract, but what's interesting through this time though, it's okay, how does this look a little different, or so it's been kind of an interesting journey. When you get like, how can you work with that? I mean, when you get a second contract, it's like, but still I find myself on this like healing journey and this, um readings and doing energy healing work and stuff like that. And even I find, like mediumship coming into my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But how does a second contract, how do you evolve that? Do you know
My
what
guides told me the answer to that. And the answer is, because I had the same question. What they told me was, up until this point,
I mean?
I have been an apprentice for the job that was coming. And in this apprenticeship program, aka my life, up until now, they wanted to teach me a lot of different things.
Okay.
And I can only assume that my next part B, or phase 2, when I'm literally doing the work,
Mhm.
is going to be something that will involve everything I've experienced and learned in my apprenticeship. So even though you may say, Kim, I helped a lot of people, I didn't feel like it was an apprenticeship. I was working. Yeah, you were working. Of course you were working. But
And oftentimes not getting paid.
of course, that's what really an apprentice. So what they told me was, that was all to lead you to your real mission. Now, people probably will be stopping and say, well, do I have to be middle-aged to know my real mission? No, you are working in connection with the ascension that's happening on our planet. The codes from the sun are getting stronger, where the veil from the worlds are lifting. So we don't have this amnesia any longer. We're waking up to our true identity. We're realizing our true gifts without, we're not questioning them as much as we did. There's so many light workers on our planet that it's almost like it's such an accepted thing,
Yes.
where you're always going to find someone in your community, even if they're, in the closet about it, that happened to me. I moved out of a condo that I lived in, a building, for 6 years. I saw these people every day, and I don't live there anymore. And I went back to visit, and I was sitting with this woman that we started talking. We're on the same page, on the same belief systems, the work she's doing. I never knew because we never connected. And I'm like, gee, all this time I lived in this building, I would have been her best friend, you know? But we will attract those people with our vibration. Like attracts like. And we will start to form our own communities that will support our journey. And we don't have to like go searching. They can be in your doctor's office. They can be, you know, anywhere you go, in the coffee shop, wherever. And sometimes I do find you have to initiate the conversation. I am definitely an initiator type of person.
Yeah, I'm too. I'm too.
Yeah. And sometimes if you just open up to people, they open up right back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So don't be afraid to do that. But like I said, we are now, it's showtime now. And I don't know, like, I can say I've been a medium. I am a medium. I'll always be a medium. But I have a feeling that there is another dimension to what's coming for me and what my purpose will be. It might change a bit. I feel like it is. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. I do feel it's going to be the title of teacher. I do feel that because it's what I love to do most.
Yeah.
And I have the knowledge from being in the apprenticeship program.
Right. Right.
So I can teach what I learned.
Exactly. Yes. Because, you know, I mean, I think that's such a blessing at this point, because there's so many people who need that kind of like teacher to kind of really ground them and be able to show them, you know, how to maneuver and have boundaries with, you know, all that, because it's a lot. It
Yeah,
can be,
I could only speak from my journey though.
yeah, right. Yeah.
And if everyone speak, I love to hear other people's journeys and what they've learned, because it might be very different, but I can incorporate it as well.
Right. Exactly.
So you know, and what I teach my students, and I live this. I live this every day when I wake up, because I learn people plan and God laughs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I look at life as an adventure, nothing but an adventure. And I like surprises, good surprises, not bad ones. And I'm open to whatever miracles may come my way. And I actually invite in miracles. I invite in the miracles. I want to have a story to tell. I want to have a synchronistic event happen so I can talk about it, give people hope. But I want to be that person to receive this adventure and this magical experience. Again, people don't realize that they have a choice of how they need to look at life. Even if you're busting your butt, 20 hours out of the day, you still in your journey can expect the miracles and the adventures and the excitement and the synchronicities, because they are there. But if we don't bring them in or invite them in, they just become stagnant, and we become stagnant, right? We want to have stories to tell our grandchildren or whoever. And we may just want to feel special, because we are special. But we have to learn and relearn who we are. We're not slaves the way we were taught to be, right? We came here to create.
Yes.
We came here to enjoy each other, to share our gifts, to help one another. And I do see it getting back to that. I really do. It's going to take some time, but it has begun. It certainly has begun. And again, once the codes get more pronounced and potent from the sun, we are going to be that much more in what they call bliss, spiritual bliss. People might be hearing this and say, this lady's off a rocker. What is she smoking? I'm not smoking anything. If you learn how to connect with the unconditional love energy, give it, receive it, give it, receive it. Hey, listen, I get mad. I can get pissed off. I can stay mad. I can curse. I do all of that.
Mhm.
Overall, though, I have to bring myself back to my center. And that's what is really, we all need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Is there like, I'm curious because, you know, asking the angels and guides, being like in different locations on the planet, like is some place maybe more potent for somebody that could open up their gifts more than another place on the planet? And can you ask the spirits and guides to give you that sort of guidance?
Yes. Well, first of all, everyone is always where they're supposed to be at all times. So there's no mistakes. And wherever you find yourself, you wrote that in, and spirits and guides and other dimensions, they are not bound by space or time like we are in the 3D. So I can astral travel to France right now and I can go there. I can remote view. I can astral travel. My soul is not bound once I learn how to not be so confined in my physical body and learn how to project out. We're not bound by space or time. There is no time on the other side, and there is no space. Like they see everything as all one. So it's just a thought that goes out and it's received like an antenna. They pick up the signal and they respond. And it doesn't matter where you are. If I go right now to Italy, my guides are right on board with me. They're not going to stay here if I'm in Florida. So it's they're there. They're always, when you leave the body, they're there. The one main guide goes with you. It's like, and that helps that soul raise in vibration, because that soul chose to watch over you, your whole incarnation, which, by the way, is like a blink of an eye in their dimension.
Can a previous loved one, like grandparents, be a guide?
So that's a great question. They can be, but typically they're not.
Yeah.
And I'll explain. They can guide you in, like, grandma, grandpa, could you please help me with this? They'll hear your request. And if it doesn't change anything about your path and they ask for permission to help you, they will and they can. But that's not necessarily your guide. Now, a guide that comes and helps you typically lived a very similar blueprint to what you chose.
Oh,
And that's why they are equipped to help you, because they've been there and done that. Grandma might have lived a very different blueprint. So she loves you, but she's not equipped to bring your soul through this journey.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Could I ask you if you receive any kind of name for a particular guide I might have?
Okay, another great question. In the past, I used to do this for people, and I used to, tune in and get a guide. And one day I was tuning in, and this I thought was brilliant. And my guide said to me, "We don't have names, Kim."
Uh-huh.
I said, "What?" I said, "What?"
Energy.
They said, "We can give you a name if names are just for the 3D. We work off of energy."
Yes.
That is how we recognize each other.
That's so fascinating because I've asked many times throughout my life and I've never received a name. And I was kind of like, huh. And then I started, oh, maybe I don't need a name. It's just like an energy I connect with.
It's energy. And they do tell me, though, if you want a name, we can provide you with a name. Like they did provide me with Callie. You know, they told me that too during the session with Anthony when he was under hypnosis, my husband. That I wrote about that in the first book. And they told me, they says, we'll give you a name. And they said, which lifetime do you want? Which lifetime? And I said, I don't know, give me your favorite lifetime that you had. And it was Callie, and then mine is Malik. And I'm like, from Malachi.
Okay.
I said, gee, that sounds like names in the Bible, but hey, who knows? And they literally told me, you know, 3 names are for the 3D only. Also, it's a very personal experience, by the way. It's a very personal experience. In other words, they're so intertwined with your soul because they come here with you on the journey through the birth canal.
Mhm.
And they stay with you in the womb and everything. I always tell everybody, if you do receive a name during meditation or in asking, I don't care if the name is Tallulah, believe it, take it as truth.
Right.
People are like, "What? Can't be my guide's name, Anna." Why not? Right? Don't question it. It came to you, take it as truth. It doesn't matter. It's a name, doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah. Is there anything that would be beneficial for me to know at this moment with my blueprint? Is there anything my guides would like me to know right now?
I'll ask. Give me a second. Okay, so I don't know anything about you at all. We spoke briefly on an email and I saw you on a fundraising event, correct?
Yes.
They said that this is a little bit of a warning or guidance. You don't need to partner with anyone. You need to be on your own. Like whatever you do, so you might be thinking, oh, gee, maybe I want to open up a center and I'll get a partner. They say no partner. This is solo. You have to fly solo with this work. Does that make sense? Were you thinking of a partner? Do you even have a partner?
I do not
Like,
have, no, I do not. It crossed my mind, but no, at this time I do not.
well, it also could be that people, once they see how advanced you're becoming, they may start coming out of the woodwork wanting to be your partner. So I believe this message will hold weight as you go, just to be in the know that this is not a conference. This is it's a solo act for you where, because you're working on your throat chakra.
Yes.
That's why you have this podcast.
Yes.
But they also mean you need to start speaking up for yourself. So if you were to get in a partnership, someone with a more developed throat chakra may overpower you, and you may not know how to shine or be the voice. You'll take a back seat. So you need to keep working. I don't only mean physical throat chakra, like speaking on a podcast. I mean, speaking up for yourself as well and saying, that does not resonate with me. Thank you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the confrontation may be hard for you. And that's throat chakra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're at now. If I read you or give you a message in a year from now, maybe 6 months, maybe 5 years from now, it might be a different message because maybe you'll be past that.
Yeah. I do feel like my gifts are expanding and growing,
Quickly. Yeah.
yeah, I sense too, but then I also have this, like you're saying, still this, but it's with people I've known, like family and friends and people who do not understand or support what I do at all. And so I have a hard time speaking up for myself in those scenarios. And I
This is your truth, and that's why they said it's you don't have to involve everyone. It's not a conference call. It's a call for you. It's your calling. It's not a conference call. We didn't. They have their calling, and that's part of what you came here to learn is living your truth and what resonates with you. You can still love everyone, your family, your friends. You don't need their approval, and they'll follow your lead in time when they see you're true to yourself. Right? If you become consistent with your truth and your passion and your gifts, they will have no choice but to conform or not. But it leaves such a void inside of us when we ignore our purpose.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest form of depression that can ever come over you.
Yeah, I feel that space of like, kind of like crabs in a bucket. They're kind of like they're trying to pull me down so I can't really open up. They're afraid, I think, either of losing me or, you know, all these things, right? Or there's some jealousy actually going on with people in my.
Yeah. You have to be careful and just keep protecting yourself, because again, you chose to say yes to your calling.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but once you agree to it, it's kind of like a thing. You can't really renege.
I know that. It's like I understand.
Yep.
I signed a contract. I signed the second contract last year, and I'm very clear about this journey.
And people will have to leave if they're really not anywhere near your vibration. That doesn't mean good or bad. It just means, some people like to live in New York where it's dense energy. I lived there, so I can say that. And some people like to live in a lighter places in the world. Doesn't mean one is good for other people. Some people not good for all. So that's how you have to look at it is this is what's working for me and this is my calling. And you don't go around telling anybody else what they should be doing or not doing.
I do not. I don't
Right.
force what I believe onto others either.
I know, I'm sure you don't. Just be you, be true to your calling, and the rest will follow. I will say though, this is also a timeline split.
Yeah.
As you know, a lot of people are leaving people's lives because a lot of people are living in the high vibration, and many don't want to, or they're scared, or it's not familiar to them, or they can't get out of their ego, and they don't even know how to start, and they don't want to start. So sometimes we will just politely part ways, and that's what they call the timeline split, and it's very real. Dolores Cannon spoke about that many times too, and I'm literally seeing it happen now.
Actually, right near Cannon Beach, Dolores Cannon, and she's somebody that I've watched for many years. And I've recently just left a bunch of people's lives recently. I was kind of like, I can't continue upward if I'm holding on to things with certain people. So
Yeah, when you're going on a mission, and I call it a mission, like say an astronaut, I always use that example. The condition you really you train to go to another planet, space, Mars, wherever. You train for it, right? You have to have the right conditions, you have to pack the right clothes, you have to do the breath work, whatever it is. You have to train for the mission, you have to have the right gear, and you're training for the mission, but not everybody's coming on this journey with you.
exactly.
And It's like diving into the waters. I'm going in, and you have the mask on, but not everybody's going in, but you will find your tribe, and that's something you should ask for, by the way. Remember we talked about, just ask.
Yeah,
Just
because
ask.
I've been asking like, okay, angels, guides, like, is there another place on this in the country or out of the country that you would like me at this time so I could really expand my energy because I where I'm at right now, actually kind of in Portland, Oregon area, it does not feel expansive to me at all. And I feel like moving on.
I uprooted from New York, and I left all my friends and the life I've only known, and I moved to Florida, and it's hard right now. It's very hard for me. I don't have my community. I mean, I have my online community. I love everybody, my fans. I have some family down here. I have my children, 2 children out of 3. I have a sister. My husband obviously came with me. I don't really know why I was led here, but I was. But I'm waiting to see. But I did take the leap. I did follow my heart. And if it keeps telling you the same message, you're going to have to follow that. And just ask, if you have no idea where to go, you know, tell them to open a door and show you, make an opportunity happen. And it will. It will. That's also what I mean, like, let spirit guide you. They have the biggest Rolodex. You don't even know like, some people don't even know what a Rolodex is because we don't use them anymore. But the universe has the biggest Rolodex with all the contacts that you need, more than you'll ever know or have yourself. So
I've been asking the guides and angels, like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for a new door. Hasn't happened quite yet, but
well, they're very proud of you that you took the initial steps to start the podcast. That's a big step. And you agreed to it. It started as a thought. You put action behind it, and they're very excited about that.
good.
It's a very big step.
Yeah, I was very nervous actually to start it, honestly.
But you did.
But exactly, I moved forward even still. Yeah, and talking with you, I mean, is amazing, and I'm so appreciative, speaking with you. And I was very nervous to talk with you. It was like, oh, I was so excited,
But it's again, you're there, I'm here. We're all, what could you give me? What can I give you? What can we give each other? Nobody's better than anybody else. We're all walking each other home.
Yeah, I love that. Walking each other home. That's lovely.
Thank you so much.
Gosh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. And do you have any events coming up that you'd like to share? I'm sure.
I actually do. I have one coming this summer in August. It's August 19th. I will be up north again in the Mohegan Sun Casino, and it's in Connecticut. I'll be there. We're raffling off a couple of free readings with me, but you have to be there in person to be part of the raffle. I will be shortly having these links on my website, kimthehappymedium.com. If you follow me on Instagram, it's Kim Russo Medium. I do have links to this event on my Facebook page, Psychic Medium Kim Russo, and Instagram Kim Russo Medium. And of course, like I said, shortly we're adding it to our website, so you guys can, whoever's interested in seeing me in person, I'll be doing a gallery, a meet and greet, and then there'll be a bunch of vendors and spiritual people. It's a real hullabaloo of spiritual people. It's going to be really exciting, and it's the first year that I'm doing this particular event with these other vendors and spiritual leaders. And I'm very excited, and I really hope people come out to see and say hi. And it's hard to get a reading with me these days, but I will be giving a gallery reading. It's a very big chance to get a reading with me.
Well, that
So
is super exciting. And I guarantee you a lot of people listening to this podcast will be there.
I hope so.
No question.
Yeah, put it on your calendar. Make your airline reservations now if you're coming from a distance. I do think you will not regret it. It will be a lot of fun. Very intimate, the gallery anyway.
Mhm.
And then you get to just vendor hop and a lot of different mediums and people giving readings and whatnot.
And I love your website because you have a shop on there as well where you can buy crystals and you can buy pocket angels for blessings and abundance and protection. And I have
Yeah.
several. And
Thank you for mentioning that. It's nothing on that store that I don't use myself. Crystals are from the earth. They amplify everything that they touch in some way or another. Most of our electronics, if not all, cannot operate without crystals. So I am a very, very big advocate for crystals and crystal jewelry. I sell jewelry and all little trinkets and protection kits and love kits and just stuff that I put together that Spirit told me to. And it's so much fun. And I prepare all of the orders myself. People have a hard time believing that, but I do. And I absolutely do. And I bless everything and I touch everything and I pick the certain stones for the people in the different kits. I absolutely do. And that keeps my vibration high.
I love that.
I do.
For everybody.
Listen, I'm not Amazon. You're not getting your package in 24 hours, but but if you have patience, you just have to know I'm doing your order.
Well, when I got mine, I was like, I felt like really good energy. I was
Good.
like,
Wow, thank you. Well, I definitely did your order because I do them all.
that's so great to
For
know.
now, maybe it'll get so big one day I need help, but right now, this is what I'm loving doing.
Good.
Thank you so much.
So much. It's been so sweet talking with you. And I look
Well, I wish you so much luck with your podcast and all your adventures, and let's catch up soon. That's all.
okay, great.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay, good to see you.
Take
Okay.
care, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.